4.2 business sectors. Learning objectives. By the end of this topic, learners should be able to explain or describe the private and public sectors, identify the types of business units under each sector, so as well as to tabulate differences between private and public sectors, classify business units into private and public sectors, introduction of business sectors. Definition. A business sector refers to a part of the economy in which businesses operate. It shows who owns the business and who benefits from its profits or services. The two main business sectors are private sector and the public sector. So I shall start by explaining the private sector. Definition of a private sector. The private sector is made up of businesses that are owned and controlled as well as financed by individuals or groups, not the government. Right? These businesses aim to make profit. Types of private sectors. We have got a sole trader, partnership, private limited company, public limited company, cooperatives, and franchises. I'll start explaining a sole trader. Is a business owned and run by one person. Partnership, business owned by 2 to 20 people who share profits and responsibilities. Whereas private limited company, a business owned by shareholders, shares are not sold to the public. Example, Delta, Schweppes, Zimbabwe Limited, African Distribution Distillers. Public limited company, a business which shares a business with the shares sold to the public through the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. For example, Econet Wireless. Econet was a private company from 1993 to 1998, and it is now a public limited company as from September 17, 1998 up to date. Cooperatives. These are owned and run by a group of people with common interests, for example, farmers or traders. Franchise. This one is a business where individuals run a branch of an established company using its name or systems. For example, EcoCash. Many people in various towns in Zimbabwe, they use EcoCash. They use the EcoCash, the platform, to operate. So EcoCash is a franchise. It has got various agents in towns. The public sector. Definition of a public sector. A public sector is made up of organizations that are owned, controlled, and financed by the government. These are examples of public sectors. We have got government departments, parastatals, local authorities, and cooperatives. They do not aim to make profit, but rather to provide services to the public. I will start explaining the government departments, which is in Zimbabwe, it comprises of all ministries in Zimbabwe. For example, Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, Ministry of Finance and Investment Promotion, Ministry of Health and Child Care, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, etc., etc. Moving on to parastatals. Parastatals, these are state-owned enterprises. Their business are owned by the government but operate like private companies. For example, ZINWA, GMB, ZETDC, National Railways of Zimbabwe, Agricultural Marketing Authority, which is AMA, as well as Agricultural and Rural Development Authority, ADA, as well as COTCO. These are all parastatals. They are owned by the government, but they operate like private companies. Moving on to local authorities. Local authorities include municipal councils, city council, as well as town councils, as well as rural development, rural district councils. Moving on to public cooperatives. These are funded by the government to support communities, for example, housing cooperatives. Key differences between private and public sectors. Public sector, we are going to explain the difference in ownership, their objectives, examples, their control, as well as the source of capital. So I'll start with the ownership. Private are owned by individuals or private groups, where public is owned by the government. Objective. Private, they aim to make profit, whereas the public sector provides services like transport, education, and among others. Examples of private include Econet, Zimbabwe, GM, Pick and Pay, while the public includes ZESA, Net1, as well as ZUPCO. Control. Private are managed by owners or a board of directors, whereas the public is managed by government officials or boards. Source of capital. Private is funded through personal savings, loans, or private investors, whereas the public is funded through government taxes or government funding. Through taxes or government funding. Classifying business units. We have to classify whether a given business unit is public or private. So, given this unit, Zimbabwe is a private, falls under private sector. ZESA falls under public sector, and Ministry of Health falls under public sector. All ministries fall under public sector. Econet falls under private sector. ZUPCO falls under public sector. City Council of Harare is a public sector. A cooperative farming group is a private sector. Importance of understanding business sectors. This helps learners to understand how business operates in society. It helps in career choices, that is to choose either in public or private sectors, or private, that is entrepreneurship. It encourages appreciation of services provided by both sectors. Again, it also promotes awareness of the economic roles of the government and private individuals. Again, moving on to the summary. The private sector includes profit-driven businesses owned by individuals or groups, whereas the public sector includes organizations owned by the government aiming to serve the public. Each sector has specific business units and displays an important role in the national development. Key terms to remember about this topic. Private sector, business owned by private or individuals or groups of people aiming to make a profit. Whereas the public sector, these are organizations owned by the government or for providing services to the public. A sole trader, business owned and operated by one person. Parastatal, these are government-owned business entity. Cooperative, a jointly owned business that operates for the mutual benefit of its members. This is the end of the topic. Can you invite your friends to join Mugombi Online School? You can join by visiting our website, mugombionlineschool.com. For any assistance, you can contact the help desk, SMS, or call these numbers. Thank you.